Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Flags in a Gym, a podcast dedicated to all things color guard. My name is Eric. I'm your host and resident color guard nerd. In today's episode, we are tackling the 2026 WGI proposal list. It is a huge one, and my friend Will is back to discuss them, so let's just get right to it. So sit back, relax, and let's talk some color guard. $32 proposals. All right, so we're going to do the proposals, and there are 32 of them this year, and Will is back. My lovely, lovely dear friend Will is back. Say hello.
Hi, hi, hi.
You've heard him many times. He needs no introduction. The man, the myth, the legend. So we're going to go over the proposals as like last year. We waited to see what was going to come out, and then they dropped this Friday afternoon. It's 19 pages long with 32 proposals.
A lot of words,
So it's just like, okay, I guess we're covering them, which is wild because last year there were 23 and the year before there were only 5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so we'll see what happens. Well, here we are with the promotions. A lot of talk about Wiley getting promoted so late in the season last year. And then obviously with the wait list situation, we knew we were going to see some proposals about that. So we did see some there. We have some repeats from last year that people are trying again.
Okay, I thought there was one that I thought sounded, I was like, wait, this sounds really familiar, but I kind of didn't, I was like, I feel like maybe this was last year, but okay.
Yeah, there are a couple that when we get to them. So just if you didn't listen to last year's episode, quick breakdown of how proposals work. Any group that participated in a WGI event can make a proposal. So if you went to a regional, you can make a proposal. You can be regional A, you can be world, whatever. The advisory board meets in June. That's this coming weekend, June 5th and 6th in Vegas every year. They go over them. There are 50 voting units. That board is composed of all the world finalists, so 15 independent, 15 scholastic, and then your top 5 open and A guards, scholastic and independent each. So you have 10 open guards, 10 A guards. That's your 50 votes. It's my understanding if there's no international unit within those 50, they add 1 international representative. But with Mayflower making finals, they are the international unit. So it should just be 50.
Yeah. That's good. That's nice though. That's good to know that because
yeah. So that's my understanding. I think a couple years ago there wasn't. So I think they had Sensation was on the panel. Okay. I believe.
Okay.
Don't quote me on this one, but I do remember there was 51, I think.
But if no one's represented from outside the United States, they're going to pull somebody in.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
And it's probably going to be a Canadian group just because on it for logistics, it's probably easier for a Canadian group to get there.
At least travel wise. Yeah, certainly. Right. Yeah. Travel wise, time zone, all that. Yeah.
So they go over the propositions. They have to be seconded to get to a vote, and then a simple majority passes it, which could also change with these proposals.
Right. That's new this year.
That's new this year. We'll get to that. And then the board of directors later makes the final approval on them so they can veto if they choose. So just like our government, Congress passes a law, the president can veto if they want to. So the board of directors, and they did last year. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was the one with the extra passes for media people or something like that got passed. I think they vetoed that one. And then WGI will publish the voting results so you can see how everybody voted. And from my understanding, they vote through competition suite. I was kind of looking at some of the papers. I don't think it's like a raise your hand, yay or nay. So I think it's like a secret ballot kind of thing where you're in competition
it's probably
suite.
A little form and they just go in and click or something like which is nice. It keeps it tidy, I guess, in that respect, probably.
If you want to change a rule, this is how you do it. You missed this year, next year, it opens about 3 weeks after date. And your first week of May, they give you about 2 weeks to submit them. And then they release them literally the week before the meeting. So everybody has all of 5 days to go over 32 proposals to see how they want to vote and their opinions on it. So that's why we're here. You know, I was told some people listened to us on the way to the Vegas meeting last year. So they had an idea of what they were getting into. Because you open this document and you're just like, I'm not reading all that.
I thought last year was a lot. I was like, where does this one end? Is it? Oh, no, we got to scroll to the next page. Oh, there's the end.
It just keeps going.
Well, there were a lot of, and I mean, obviously we're focused on color guard. There actually are a lot of proposals for percussion and winds as well. So definitely, I mean, it's kind of neat if you're not familiar with those aspects of the activity. Look them over. It's neat to just see what they're talking about too. The percussion in particular had a lot of things with their scoring system that they use because it is different than the color guard side. So it's just kind of neat to I always poke through those just to see like what are they talking about? What are they concerned about? What's who's raising different issues over there? And it's just neat to see that side of things too. So definitely check those out if you haven't before.
Yeah, and it's always fun to see how people react to the previous season. Like
Hmm.
last year in percussion. So I talked to a percussion person. Apparently pre-shows aren't really a thing in percussion like they are in color guard. Like you have the big pre-show. So
Well, their
I
setup time. I mean, they've got to, take some
right.
time to get all of that stuff out there.
I forget who won last year. Not this past year. Was it Rhythm X that won 2 years ago or RC? Because they always go back and forth.
For 25, I thought it was Rhythm X.
Anyway, whoever won, they had a pre-show where they were playing their instruments. And there was a
Uh,
proposal to say no more pre-shows because I guess people didn't like it. And I asked a percussion person, they're like, yeah, it's not really a thing. It was kind of a new thing. And and his wife is in color guard, so he knows how color
okay.
guard works. So he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, we just kind of don't do that over here. So
Yeah.
and then this year there's something about things being broken on the floor because I think whoever won was and they were like throwing plates and they were broken on the floor. So I'm like,
It was the mint, the beautiful, I will say I love mint, so it was a beautiful mint show. Whoever had that, it was that one. Either
but I
yeah,
think
either
they were
ours.
like breaking plates or something like that. And then there was a proposal. Like, weren't they like throwing plates that got broken? I don't remember, but I feel like I remember that. Now there's a proposal about things that being broken on the floor. And I'm like, so it's like
Okay.
they're, but we do have the same in color guard. We have people that are reacting to things that happened last year. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
let's do it to it. We have a lot to get to. So well, I'm going to read you the proposal as written. We
Hmm.
will give you the rationale. So when you submit a proposal, you have to say your reasoning behind it. Some
Hmm.
rationales are short, some are not. I am not going to read the entire rationales because some of them are insanely long.
Your eyes.
If you want to read them for yourself, you can go to WGI.org. It's right there on the front page. Just scroll down where you see all the pictures of the lovely performers that are now updated from this past season. And they've
Hmm.
added a ton of pictures. So if you're a performer and you go look for yourself, because usually it's just like the winners and
Yeah, there's some good. I mean, they've got some A class. There's some open. There's some. I mean, it's a good mix of all the across the board kind of thing. I will
yeah,
say, just I mean, yeah, if even with the color guard stuff, like poke through the proposals, folks. Like, just it's neat to just see what issues people are raising because this can trickle down to the local circuits, and it doesn't always, but it certainly could. And it's just neat to know what other people are thinking about because maybe you don't go to WGI events, but you are aware of them and you watch them, but maybe your group doesn't participate. That's okay. Still take a look and see what they're talking about because it could ultimately, again, trickle down and see. So definitely make yourself aware of just what's being discussed and proposed. If nothing else, it's just kind of interesting to check it out. But it really can be helpful too, just to you might present it to your local circuit. So make sure you're looking at that and just a quick scan through. So,
absolutely. And there is one that will absolutely affect the circuits if it passes.
yes, I saw that.
It's
And
going to impact the entire sport. All right. So let's get into this. Let's do this.
all
We've
right.
got a lot. Let's go. So I'm going to read the proposal. I'm going to give you the rationale. And then WGA added a new thing where they have an administrative review section. It's the red text on the proposals if you read it.
Mhm.
So we'll include that if there is one. Some of them have them. It's really just kind of like additional notes, I guess, that WGI was like, okay, they're proposing this and they put a financial cost of zero. And they're like, well, actually, it'll be such and
Right.
such. Or if this passes, this is how it's going to happen. So we'll include those as we get to them. And WGI broke them up into categories for us. So they're all
Yep.
kind of similar grouped together. So our first category is all things affecting world championships. So proposals number one and number one, two, three, and four all impact seeding and your round placement going into Dayton. So all four of these cannot pass. They all have the same idea concept. So let's start with number one. Eliminate seeding for performance times and instead switch to a computer generated random draw.
Hmm.
Period. So this one is just saying now we have the seedings, especially like Scholastic A. You have
Hmm.
140 units going. They put seed one in a block, seed two, seed three, and go all the way around until they get all the way around. And then they eventually mix them up. And that's how your rounds are set up. This is saying just put 140 names in a list, hit jumble. There you go.
Yep.
And end of story. The biggest things with the rationale on this one, they said seating is outdated, and this is something that we need to address just because it does impact the other ones that mention seating is judges bias, where the rounds are broken up now. Where we'll talk Scholastic A, you put 10 guards in a round. You put seed number 2, 12, 19, 23, all the way down to 140, right? And then they take the bottom 5 units, so the lowest 5 seeds, they are the first 5 guards to perform. They mix them up. And then they
Mhm.
take the top 5 guards in that round and then they mix them up. So you have 10 guards performing in certain order. 6 to 10 are the first 5, and then 5 to 1 are the second in some random order. Let's just go over that now because as we go through these others, you're going to hear proposals to get rid of that.
Right.
This is saying just eliminate the seating altogether, jumble them all up. They said no groups that get their seating score within the first 3 weeks have made finals in the past 2 years. And it kind of penalizes groups that can only go to one regional, like you think like the groups in Minnesota or Utah, where they literally get one regional. And
Mhm.
if it's early in the season, and you get a 65 because you're not done and you're stuck with that seating score for the rest of the season, and then you end up in a crappy spot, you're not making semis or finals. That's the rationale behind it.
Is this I might be mixing this up in my head as far as the what this proposal is suggesting. This almost sounds more like a tournament style of just like throw everybody in a big thing, jumble them up, and just let them go, and kind of boom, let them fall where they fall. Is that the tournament style format that people mention in other? I've heard that phrase thrown around before, but this might not be quite the same thing. But
I've never heard the term tournament style used like that, but isn't this what BOA does? They just put everybody in a pot and
yeah, essentially, until you get to a final, the finals event, everything is random, like completely random. Like you're just drawing numbers. You're just there's
right.
no
Avon High School could go on first, followed by Joe Schmo High School second.
right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's semifinals at Grand Nationals. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Carmel could go on first, and B Boop High School could go on dead last, and it's a free for all because that's a contest.
But that's what this is proposing, just doing that
Yeah,
similar. Just put
right.
everybody, especially Scholastic A, on
Which
140
I love
guards.
that. And even as a spectator, I love it. As a judge, I love it. As a director, I don't really care. I mean, honestly, I really don't. You're gonna have to go regardless, so whatever. Like, I'm gonna be stressed about the kids' show anyway, so I don't really care where we perform.
I agree. I mean, I think it would add some. I think it would help with the bias, even if judges don't admit it. I think there's just a subconscious bias. The second half of the round are the stronger guards, ranking wise.
And I will say, I feel like for whatever reason, maybe it's because you and I had talked a lot about it and really looked at the structure of everything this particular season. I did start to notice, like, oh, yeah, these groups that made it out of prelims, they were typically this bracket out of each chunk, which was just interesting. It didn't always happen, but it was interesting to see that kind of playing out a little bit, but that even with a random draw, it could still happen.
It's tricky. Like I think with smaller classes like Independent Scholastic World, it's not as big of a deal. When you're talking 140 Scholastic A guards,
Mm.
and
Or even the open class where you've still got, 50, 60, 70 groups. That's still a lot. Like, whew, that's, goodness.
yeah. So we'll get to the end of the section and kind of say what we think might pass and what's going to get shut down immediately. Let's move on
Mhm.
to proposal number 2 because it's very similar, or it's another ranking ones. This one was actually submitted by Dale Powers, the director of Color Guard. Eliminate the rankings as a form of seeding for world championships and implement a process that would seed groups based on the results from the previous season. A group's postmark date will be used to seed them into rounds. Previous year's finalists would be seated in the bottom of the round, meaning they go on last. Semifinalists in the middle of the round, all other entries at the beginning of the round. Groups who are reclassified or promoted into a round will be placed in the semifinals grouping. This will allow groups to know their championship prelim schedule by February 15th and prelims rehearsal schedules by March 1st, allowing for better planning for travel during championship week. Rationale here is just basically kind of saying the same thing where some guards, their scores are from week 1 or 2, and then they add 1.5 points per week. That's the system right now.
Mhm.
And lower ranked guards that make it to finals, while single digit ranked guards kind of fall out. or don't even make it to semifinals. So personally, with how volatile the activity is and how you can just have that banger year and your kids can lock in, I'm not a fan of basing it on the previous years. Every year is a different year. It's a new
Right.
cast, it's a new team. You can't base it off the previous year. And then how would this like work in A class where, I mean, you maybe have three Scholastic A guards that are returning, maybe finalists.
It's tricky. I mean, it definitely is yeah, this one I'm kind of like, I don't know that it makes the most sense.
And you're still kind of putting bias in there with, finalists. Okay, especially in the independent world side. Fusion, Paramount,
Well, and
Etude, they're all going to be at the bottom of their rounds. It's the same
and so
thing.
it's like, well, I already know. I mean, yeah, I'm already thinking, oh, well, they already made finals last year, so I they quote unquote should be good. Yeah, it's gonna almost encourage the bias in some ways, maybe. Yeah, it's kind of gross. I don't,
And then what if a preliminated group has a banger year, but they got to go on in the first round because last year they didn't make it into semis?
which right, and in that case, ideally they would be scored appropriately, and the score would hold up.
You'd hope.
Yeah, judges integrity and that sort of thing kind of start to come into play, and judging the event of the day, not based on history. And yeah, it's a little
Yeah, I feel like it's trying
very
to reinvent the wheel and just making it overly complicated.
yes, yeah, there you go. Yes, it's making it too complicated. It doesn't need to be this
And if every year is a new year, why are we rewarding previous year's performance?
right, because I could have 12 kids and 10 of them graduated. No one knows except for me. So here I come with 12 new kid or 12 kids again, but only two of them are returning. And you're gonna expect that we're gonna be as good as we were? Like that's a bold assumption.
Yep.
Yay for us getting to go last, but also I don't know. That's it. That's probably a bad example, but like it's weird. Anyway, yeah, I don't like this one.
Yeah.
This one I don't. This one I should just strike it.
Yeah.
Next.
Next. All right, let's move on to proposal three. So we're going to do three and four together because they say
Okay.
the same thing, just three has a restriction on it.
Hmm.
Proposal number three, Scholastic A class, preliminary round assignment. Seeding from Scholastic A class prelims will be used solely to assign groups into performance rounds. Once groups are placed into rounds, performance order within each round will be determined by a single random draw. Semifinal round assignments and performance order will follow the same seeding procedures established for the 26 season. So this is saying you put them in the rounds, like we talked about. You put your 10 guards in the round, but there's no more cutting it in half. You just scramble all 10. So the top seed could be the first guard on in that round.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Let's jump to four real quick because four is pretty much the same thing, except it's for everybody. Eliminate the second step in the process of World Championship prelim scheduling that seeds individual prelim rounds by ranking scores into first and second half draws. So this is saying get rid of that top half, bottom half within your round for everybody. Proposal three is
Mhm.
saying just do it for Scholastic A.
Okay.
Proposal four has some interesting rationale. They kind of have the same situation you're talking about where the first half groups rarely make finals, and you're doomed if you get that early regional seeding score and you can't go out any another time. But
Hmm.
proposal four also brought up the the point spread between groups in the first half of the round versus the second half of the round. So in independent world, the point disparity is almost 13 points, 12.85 points on average between groups in the second half versus the first half. Scholastic World 10.2, Independent Open 8.7, Scholastic Open 6.75, Independent A at 8.6 points, and Scholastic A at 8.7 points. So there's a gap. The average across all classes is 9.3 points. So if you're in the second half of your round with the current situation, you're
Hmm.
on average going to be 9.3 points ahead of a guard in the first half.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And if you're that doomed color guard that can only get to the Salem Regional, which is like the first weekend in February because you're from upstate Maine and that's the closest you can get,
Right. Yeah.
I kind of like the whole just number four, get rid of it for everybody.
Hmm.
Take your seeds, put them in the rounds, and then just shuffle the entire round.
I think one, three, and four are all kind of just giving us. at least in my mind, they're all giving us the same, like, just make it completely random
Yeah.
across the board, every single class. There's no, yeah, it's just that's a contest.
Yep.
So what we're here to do is have a big old contest. Well, let's have one. Yeah.
The only thing four would do would be you would have a wide range within each round because you would still have
Mm,
the seeded groups going in there. So you'd have your one seed, your 11 seed, your 20, your 40, your 70, your 80, whatever. So you'd have
mhm.
that mix. Whereas proposal number one, I mean, the very first guard on could be your number one seed, even though you're not doing seedings anymore, but the very first guard on could be the top guard of the year.
I think like within the rounds, then the rounds are randomized. Like I kind of get I get that too. I mean there's good I think in all of them except for number two. I don't care about it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think number four is probably my favorite. Number one being totally random is I just don't think people are going to go for that.
Sure.
Yeah, I think four with having you still get your ranking, you still get your seating.
The rationale for number four maybe helps it sit a little better just
Right, seeing the numbers.
across the batch of people. I could see that being like different people's brains can can grab onto it more and be like, oh, I see what they mean. Yeah, this is good. Let's do that.
And
Yeah.
this is just for prelims. So I guess they all say semis just
Right, which I think that makes sense.
and semis is different for the classes because depending on the number,
How many there are? Yeah,
right.
exactly. So it's a
Because
little.
if there's 24 or less, which is independent open, scholastic and independent world, you just
Mhm.
do a reverse performance order.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah, Scholastic A would be the tricky one in that, but not, I mean,
So those are the four that really focus on your performance time at date. And let's move on to proposal number five. We're still in the World Championships section. Teams without a seeding score due to the 400-mile rule or international status will be placed within an appropriate competitive range as determined by the administrative team. These placements will not displace any team that has earned a seed through regional scoring. Instead, an additional team will be added to the respective round in which they are placed. So there's a rule like if there's not a regional within 400 miles of you, or you are like that group from Thailand, you can
hmm
submit a video to the administrative team, and they
right.
basically give you an internal score. Like, okay, you'll be here. So this is saying when they give you that person that number, currently it seeds you 27th. We'll just say that.
hmm
And then, so whatever the number 27 guard now gets bumped out of their spot and you take their spot. This is saying, nope, just add them to the round. And
Right.
now there's just an extra unit there instead
Right.
of bumping everybody down the list a bit.
Yeah. I think
So,
that's fine.
rationale this approach creates a more equitable competitive seeding structure. Teams that earn a seed through regional scoring should not be displaced by teams without a qualifying score, while special circumstance teams get to be accommodated, and those accommodations don't come at the expense of another team.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, it's just kind of makes it, for lack of a better phrase, I guess it makes it more fair.
Right,
Why did I get bumped because they didn't come to an event or, kind of
right.
it just no, we'll just plop them in and keep things going. Yeah.
Yep, just add them to the round, one more guard, not
Yeah.
a big deal. So
Yep.
I think that one should pass. I don't see anybody be like, wow, I don't think that's fair. I don't.
Yeah, there's nothing shady or weird about it. It's just like it's just keeping the field of groups kind of more consistent.
Proposal number six. This one is an interesting one.
Mhm.
Require one designated prelims competition site for each class, with the exception of Scholastic A, which will remain split due to the number of participating groups. The rationale on this one is basically because of independent open. Currently, independent open prelims are split across multiple sites and performance times, which can create varying competitive environments throughout the day. Using a single designated prelim site for each class may help create a more consistent championship experience, support adjudication continuity, and provide more comparable performance conditions. The financial impact on this is obviously significant. And then the administrative review note, an additional venue could cost upwards of 60,000 per day, excluding any additional personnel expenses such as judges or contest staff required to support the extra site. The total estimated cost would be at least 70 to $80,000 per day.
That's a lot.
That is a lot. But this is clearly addressing the waitlist issue, I think, is also part of it on the back end of it, because with Independent A, they went over their allotment of 65 units because Independent A is all at the convention center. And they had the time to add groups so they could extend the schedule.
Yeah.
Because Independent Open uses UD in the morning and Nutter Center in the evening, which are two completely different venues and performance areas.
Yeah.
And those are your prelim spots. I mean, I've heard people say, "Oh, we got Nutter. Ugh, I hate Nutter," or "I hate the lighting." Or
Yeah.
it'd be fair to have everybody in the same gym for prelims.
Yeah, definitely.
This is proposing. I don't think this is going to pass just because of the cost, but I think I like the idea of get everybody in the same gym.
Right. Hopefully, I would say hopefully this one might spur some bigger conversations where they can examine this a little bit more. Maybe something comes out of it later. It's a lot of money. I mean, basically, round up, it's $100,000 extra that they don't already have money. It's like that's a lot.
How many groups were at Dayton?
Ooh, 300 for maybe 400-ish.
Let's just say 350. We're going to do some very quick math. So, whoops.
I'm thinking it was not quite 400 this year, but I could be wrong.
So we'll say $100,000 and we'll just divide by 350 groups. You're
Mm.
looking at an extra $285 per group registration fees to cover that. If you said it was $100,000.
I mean, on one hand, it's like, it's fine. On the other hand, though, that's a lot for some groups.
For some groups, that's a lot of money.
That's
Yeah.
a that's another costume. That's another like one or two kids fees. That's another, that's that's the
That's another two car washes.
filling the tank of the bus up once or twice. I mean, I mean, there's, yeah, that's, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think one, it would level the playing field to get them in kind of in the same gym, and two, it would
Mhm.
appease the waitlist issue, which is like a secret bonus to it because if you had the venue for the entire day,
Yeah.
or you
Just,
could expand it and just because what they had 50 independent open guards last year,
I think
I
so.
think you're
Yeah.
going to have 50 again this year
At least. Well, probably more, honestly.
because you have Onyx and Pegasus coming out with their open guard. Eclipse moved down to open.
Hmm.
I'm sure one of the other Netherlands groups is going to come over. You might see
Well,
another U.
all the A guards that got moved into open.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. I wonder, I know it's not quote unquote, it's not preferable, but for prelims, there are plenty of giant high school gyms in that area that you could use for prelims. Why don't they use that? I don't know. I know. I mean, I know that's probably but like that honestly could solve the issue.
They did it in San Diego. I did prelims in a high school gym.
Yeah, we use ballrooms in Wisconsin
I
for people.
remember that.
I
I
mean,
remember going to the
like,
ballrooms to watch.
like, so I mean that might be. I'm sure there's a fabulous gym at one of the local high schools that could easily still give the same experience quality as any of the other prelim sites for world championships. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, there's got to be like a Carmel
I don't
size
know.
school or, like one of the Texas schools that would
Well,
have
yeah,
a some.
I mean, either of the Lakotas are pretty nice. Like, I mean, I don't know. I'm just, yeah, that's the thing that in my head, I'm like, well, maybe they just need to use one of I don't know. And I guess the local colleges or universities are all probably tapped out in terms of what could accommodate.
You don't only need it for one day. You just need it for Thursday. You
Hmm.
just need it for prelims because in semifinals, you just do what they do. You do semifinals at Nutter at night for Independent Open.
Hmm. Yeah.
You're just addressing one day.
Yeah. I don't know. Just anyway, not to. That's my proposal. I didn't.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think if there's enough pressure, they could get it to happen. I mean, and who knows? The money might be there.
Well, true. I mean, yeah, maybe it's not as crazy as whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to proposal number 7. This one, okay, here we go. Any competitive class within winter. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing. This is long, and because we saw this last year, this is a try again because I remember this one. This is saying any class that has more than 60 participating units. So this is A class right now, Scholastic A and Independent A. Scholastic
Hmm.
Open is very close to this threshold, but currently does not affect anybody else. We would
Yeah.
be adding a fourth competitive round at championships. I remember talking about this last year. So
Hmm.
you would have now you'd have qualifiers, then prelims, then semis, then finals. You're adding a fourth round within. And so instead of prelims, semis, finals, you're adding a fourth one in there. So be before then. The point of it really is addressing the Friday slog for A class. And all the A guards talk about it, which is what a long, horrible day it is. It's so tough for everybody because
Yeah.
you're up so early for semis. And then if you make it into finals, I mean, the last classic A guard goes on at like 11:15 at night.
Mm-hmm.
And they're probably up at that guard's probably up by 8 in the morning for practice before their semis, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
And then, yeah, you can go and take a nap and everything, but still, that's still such a long, long day. And I know that's everybody's big complaint about A class is just the Friday slog. So this would kind of address it because you would have a fourth round, so you'd kind of weed groups out. I guess I don't know, but
this
you'd
is
have to do it another day, Wednesday.
yeah. I was gonna say this is where it's like, do you go back to yeah using the Wednesday events, which we tried.
I don't remember when it was. I don't. I think I was on my break from the activity of that.
It was in the last. I want to say it was in the last 10 years ish. But yeah, it didn't last very long.
I mean, I
But
can only imagine because not only you have to get the venue, but now you're talking hotels. You're taking the kids out of school an extra day, which I'm sure school
yeah,
boards and counties are not going to be thrilled about.
yeah, it's a lot. I don't know what the answer would be to that. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, adding a fourth round to kind of so you slowly chop them down rather than just lopping off a third and then lopping off another two-thirds of them for finals. I mean, it's tough. It's world championships. I understand the fatigue and just the concern there. I do know that this year they moved Scholastic A semis closer to UD. Truist is the far one. Is that the one that's in Kentucky?
That's the one in Kentucky, right? Yeah, because they was the independent A guards were in Kentucky, I think, for semis.
Yeah, because I think Scholastic Open went on after them.
Yeah. So that I guess sort of helped, maybe. I don't know. Be interesting to hear groups' thoughts on that, if that helped them feel less less frazzled or not. I don't know. But
Somebody did message me. I think it was after our A class recap, and they said we didn't have to make that. They moved our semifinals closer, so we didn't have to make that long drive from Kentucky up. So at least that's
yeah.
something. But I mean, I appreciate their dedication to trying to get this passed. I just don't see how this
I,
passes. And
well, and this one has the administrator review, notes underneath it too. Like it's complicated. It's
yeah,
basically this was just I, I like the idea behind it. Yes, it is very complicated, and I hope that they actually discuss it and like have a good roundtable kind of like let's actually have a friendly discussion about this because it's a valid thing to talk about, but it's messy and there's a lot of there's a lot of nuance and whatnot to it. I think that yeah, make it tricky, but mm.
good luck, y'all.
Right, yeah, blessings on your journey. Uh,
Proposal number 8. This is the last one in the World Championship section.
yes.
Increase the number of judges for World Championships, allowing for another full panel to maximize the performance opportunities and potentially alleviate judges' decision fatigue throughout the World Championship week. The rationale behind this is I don't know the number, let's just say they have 20 judges for the entire weekend to
Mhm.
judge championships, especially with Scholastic A getting a double panel for the semifinals. These judges are judging a lot. By adding more judges, you can eliminate that fatigue. They're not judging as much. And it's just, the financial impact they said would be about $5,000 to $10,000. That covers the cost of lodging, travel, and the judge's stipend, which can be offset by the increase of units that are able to compete. Although I don't know how you get more units in because you're limited by time.
Now we're back to proposal number. What
Right.
like this is that doesn't quite
And then they did a financial impact review. This is the administrative note. The
mhm.
proposal does not specify the number of additional judges being requested, limiting the availability to fully assess the financial impact. For each additional championship judge, estimated costs include approximately $2,000 per individual for travel, lodging, meal expenses, and judges' fees, depending on the number of groups adjudicated, for a total of $10,000 per panel. It could be offset somewhere by registration fees. Furthermore, proposal does not address how the requested additions would align with or impact the current championship adjudication progression structure, which utilizes separate preliminary, semifinal, and combined finals panels. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. So
This
basically,
one, this one's gonna be dead in the water. I'll just be honest.
yeah.
But only, I mean, again, I like the intent behind it. Sure, yeah, the judges are warning the F out, especially with A class,
But you know what?
maybe maybe even open class. But
You want to get more judges at Dayton, then stop letting them work with these groups and having these affiliations that they're doing under the table. Because all these judges like, oh, I can't go because I work with them. I thought a rule was passed where you are not allowed to work with a group or you cannot judge. But we all know they're working with these guards. So if you want more judges at Dayton, stop allowing them to work with groups
uh-huh, remove affiliations.
because I'm going to take off my bias hat. No, you're not. No, you're not. You
Yeah.
work with such and such world guard and okay, well, you can't judge world or whatever. And then, oh, but I also work with this A guard. So I can't go to Dayton. Stop working with these groups. Either teach or judge. Stop double dipping.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently there was a huge, I don't want to say blow up at the last meeting, the meeting last year, where
Mm-hmm.
people were upset about judges' affiliations and working with groups while judging. And people got up and grandstanding. We would never do that. And then people were eye rolling and all of it. I heard many people that I know were at that meeting and they were telling me what's happening. They were texting me on the spot. So just if you want more judges at Dayton, stop allowing them to work with groups and enforce the policy. I said what I said.
And I mean, devil's advocate, I guess, of like, well, define an affiliation. I went in once and like just watched someone's rehearsal, gave them some feedback. Does that mean I have an affiliation now, so I can't judge at all? Is that how you're going to define that? That's I think that's where, at least in my mind, that's where it gets really slippery and gray and blah because
Yeah, but then that could be the running excuse. Oh, I just went to one rehearsal and just gave them some quick feedback. When it's,
well, right, and I mean, well, and it may well be a valid. That's hard. Now, if you are actively going into a group's rehearsals and whatnot, and you're there with them all the time, and then you go and that's a little
or the design meetings, the design retreats, the powwows where you're
a little
coming up
weird.
with the concept and staging. And
I don't know.
I just,
That's
I feel like this should be a black or white thing. This is like a hard line. You do or you don't. It really isn't fair. Even if you just, like you said, you went to one rehearsal, it's like you've consulted them outside of when you're supposed to be doing it. They're getting
yeah.
free feedback from a WGI judge that's going to be judging their competitors, and their competitors don't get that.
Now, maybe
I mean, they
you
probably
don't know
are,
that
but
that group is going to go to whatever event that you're going to be judging, because sometimes you just don't know what the final list is. I mean, there's some of that kind of comes. So it's like, oh, and you're like, ooh, in the moment, oh crap. Well, I'm gonna just in that moment do my, or I don't know, like that's, whew, yeah, that's messy.
yeah,
She gets messy, and there's a lot of particles to dust up.
yeah.
Trying to make a cleaning metaphor. I don't know. Anywho.
Well, that's the end of the World Championship section. So there were 8 in that section.
That got us to page 5.
Page 5 of
14
19.
more pages to go.
So of these, I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 that are all tackling the scheduling by seeding. So we'll see which one of those passes.
hmm
We think 5's going to pass that 400-mile rule. The one competition site for each class, that'll be interesting. It's not going to pass, but it'll be interesting to see what comes out of that one.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the 4th round of competition, again, not going to pass, but be interesting to see what conversations.
Yeah.
And then the judges, add more judges.
Yeah.
But I think that's also a problem the circuits are having is just trying to find judges because young people don't want to get into judging. Some of these WGI judges have been judging for 30
Well,
years.
especially yeah, the young. I mean, they're all so busy teaching everybody from all everywhere, and the old people are tired. And it's a lot, and
All right, let's move on to next set of proposals. This is all about regionals. Proposal
Mhm.
number 9. This is a long one. When multiple Winter Guard International regional events are scheduled within close geographic proximity during competitive season, those events shall be reasonably distributed throughout the season in order to promote equitable adjudication exposure and competitive visibility for all participating units. There is a lot more to this. That's the baseline of it. And I mean, it makes perfect sense. Why you're going to have all three New England regionals back to back to back, and then they don't get seen again until maybe they go to Bethlehem at the end of the season. There is a administrative review that basically says several concerns identified in the proposal are already addressed through the existing event calendar planning and evaluation process, making it unclear what additional administrative changes are being requested. If approved, the proposal would be referred to the governance committee for review across all events and divisions before consideration by the board of directors. I take that last sentence as try me, it ain't gonna happen. We're gonna shut that down. That's
Yeah.
the way I read that last sentence because I that sentence appears in a couple other ones where it's like, well, we got to go to the governance
Yeah,
committee.
that shows up a few times. This one, I mean, I kind of get it. Like, it's almost like you want to make it an easier array across the whole country. We've got a freaking big ass country. Like, and not every place that you want to have an event is available. And it's just I think it's more complicated in reality than this proposal pres uh pretends to acknowledge.
Yeah,
I don't
well, I
know.
think the bigger issue
Eh,
is just you have regionals that are in the same location. Like, you have the Salem regional and we had
Right.
Corning.
That one, yeah. Or like, well, Indy and Avon. Why did you do like those are literally the same event? And they were what, like 3 weeks apart?
I think that's a decent spread. So this was proposed by somebody in out of Minnesota, where I think they only get one up there, the Minnesota regional.
And it's pretty tiny.
Yeah.
It's very
But like I think especially for the New England area, I do know like you had Corning, New York,
yeah.
and then, or sorry, you had Salem, or Salem and Corning on the same weekend. Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
you could spread those out. Then you had the Philly regional that was like the next weekend after that.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. And then we have Bethlehem towards the end, right? There was like
Right.
she was down the list, but like still like that's a lot in that same bubble. I don't know. I don't know. It's tricky again.
But I think they're saying we kind of already try to do this with the calendar and try to make sure geographically the dates are spread out. So Blessed Sacrament, who's in Boston, they're not going to their three regionals the first week of the year without
Mm,
having to make a big trip.
right. And well, and again, I think it comes back to what's available. Can we
Right.
we'd love to spread this around, but we can't because no one's got available. So they all have to be boom, 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 or on the
Yeah.
same, it's like, well, getting gyms is hard.
Especially the ones that are kind of locked in. Like Salem is always like that first weekend. Like I think they just
Yeah, the
I think the
long-standing
school,
events.
yeah, the school's like, okay, we know WGI is coming this week.
Right.
No activities.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the one or the newer ones maybe are trickier or harder. I don't know. But
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Proposal number 10. This one is one we were talking about
Yep.
previously. Regional A class units participating in 2-day regional events shall be scheduled across both days of the event, with preliminary competition on day one and finals competition on day two, consistent with the scheduling structure afforded to all other classes of competition.
Hmm.
In the event that logistical or scheduling constraints require Regional A prelims and finals to be conducted on a single day of a 2-day regional, those units shall be charged the single day entry fee rather than the 2-day entry fee. Additionally, Regional A finalists shall be included in the award ceremony alongside the other competing classes, regardless of the day of which their competition concludes. Rationale behind this, I mean, it's pretty much explained in the rule. You were
Yeah.
charging Regional A groups. It's $100 difference. They put the number in here. So
Yeah.
the single day entry fee is 345. The 2-day is 445. So they were charging these groups $445 to go to a 2-day regional, but they only get to perform on the first day.
And their awards are on the first day. And
And they're
there's like, yeah, it's like, that's not, yeah, that wouldn't, I mean, it's like, wait, we're still going home. We only did this one. Why did we pay the extra? What's that for?
right. You're not getting the well, they do get the second panel, but they get on the same day. But like they even said in the rationale here talking about their award ceremony is pathetic because
Mhm.
well, they do the awards after World, so they perform before World, then the World Guards go on, and then
Mhm.
everybody leaves because they've seen all the World, and then out come the 4 or 5 regional A Guards for their award ceremony, and there's 12 people in the audience.
Real, yeah, that's not.
And let's be real, how many
What we're
regional
paying
A Guards do we have in this activity?
a F ton.
In FTON, right? I mean, just think in your circuit, you're listening. How many regional A guards are in your circuit? So you're
Yeah,
telling all of those guards you're not equal to these other guards.
I don't. Yeah, that's a different discussion and whatever. But like the amount of attention that is given at regionals to everything other than A class. Like, why do all the world guards automatically just make finals? No. When you've got 30 Scholastic A, or, A, we'll just say A class, 30 A class guards that are there, and you take 10 of them to finals, but you let every single one of those world guards make finals? Why? No. No. The A guards are the activity. They wouldn't,
Yep.
nobody else is there. I know this is our old discussion.
No,
But
preach
I think
it
that's
because it
that
needs
is
to be
that is
said.
part of this proposal though, is that's what he's saying. He's like, listen, don't act like don't take my money if you're not gonna treat me the same.
That part.
Yeah,
They pay the
equal representation for every
Yep.
single unit, including Regional A, which is the absolute backbone of this activity and the absolute mother F ton bulk of the groups in this country are all in Regional A. That's the bulk of the country. And to pretend like they don't deserve all the bells and whistles of everything at a regional event or world championships, why doesn't A class get confetti?
Thank you. I'm still I
That's
almost made a
still
post on Instagram, but I was having a little bitter kind of streak, about so like I'm gonna let
not
this
to
one
go into a tirade about things,
right.
but I think this proposal points is still is like no, we deserve equal representation as much, if not more so, than open and world class. Thank you very much. End of discussion.
Yep. And just to show how much WGI craps on the A class, you go to Dayton, world class gets confetti, the golden streamers, and they
Mm-hmm.
get the video montage
Mm-hmm.
from the championship weekend. They're like, oh, we're going to watch a montage. Open doesn't get the
Oh,
montage, but they get confetti. A doesn't get
right.
any of it.
Yeah.
Rude.
Rude. Real rude. I also will say I don't like the administrative review comment on this proposal because it
No.
sounds real big old FU with a middle finger right up your you know what to this proposal. And it's like, excuse me, implementation could reduce opportunities for finalists in other classes. So what? Who the freak cares?
Be better.
Isn't my group deserving of equal treatment and showing up on Sunday afternoon in finals and awards? You don't care. You don't care about me and my group in regional A? Well, then F you too. I'm taking my money back. I'm not going to come. That what you want? What it sounds like.
Mm-hmm. So the administrative review says with Sunday finals at regionals already overscheduled, implementation could reduce opportunities for finalists in other classes competing for world championships. Additionally, the automated online registration system would require programming updates to support a revised pricing structure, resulting in additional costs. Girl, please. Girl, bye. Like, come on.
Like this one makes me heated. I'm like sweating over here. I'm like
Right.
this. I can't. This one, no. I'm all for this proposal passing. Yeah, yes, yes, Queen. I'm glad he did it. Great. But that comment, I hope every single person that teaches a regional A guard is real effing salty when they hear about this and fires back.
And this leads us to our other issue of the voting panel. 33 of the groups, because you have your promoted independent open guards, are world teams. So you're going to have world class teams voting. Oh, so I might not make finals. So some regional A guard gets to make finals.
Doesn't make any effing sense. I don't, well, that's a different episode. No, but it makes me real mad.
Agreed.
All my years of teaching groups that were in either Scholastic A or Regional A, and we were treated better in our local circuit than anything. I mean, at least the local circuit knew that we were important
We're funding your activity, y'all.
and gave a toot about us. I mean, this is a big old smack in the face.
You know what? I'm going to reach out to the guy at Band Scores because he's got all these numbers. I want to know how many A class and regional A guards went to regionals
Mm-hmm.
and then compare that to open and world and just look at the finance because everybody pays the same rate. You pay the
Right.
same
Yeah, this costs the same. It
345.
doesn't, right, but
Curious to see what the balance is and how much how much money was made from the regionals on A guards versus open and world.
it'd be interesting. Just to, I mean, yeah. But yeah, this one,
Mm,
I don't, ooh, it gets me hot.
yeah. And it says that if they do pass this, that the guards during the 26 season, this past season, that were charged, they should get $100 credit for next year. Because that was new this year. That whole regional A thing with them doing the 1 day performance thing
That's
was new
right.
this
And
past
shuffling
year.
them around and now I understand, yes, when it's a 2 day event and yeah, the Sunday thing. I mean, yeah, you don't want these people having to drive home at midnight, and have to go to school or work the next day. I mean, I get that they were trying to squish the Sunday event down. Well, then don't take as many groups into finals.
Right.
Stop taking all 12 pro guards into finals. Make it a true finals event and take the top six. It's a contest, folks. It's not a free for all. You're just pat them on the back and say, "Great job, here you go into finals." No, that's not how a contest works. A contest is a contest. Get into finals.
Anyway, yeah, we need to move on
Bigger.
because
Yeah, sorry.
we will keep
You can
going.
cut all that out. I don't know. Edit that.
No, because
But
we
that's
both said it. A class. I've said it so many times. It's the backbone of the activity, and I will stand up and fight for the A class. And regional A is part of A class.
exactly
All right. Proposal number 11. This proposal recommends that WGI implements a system for regional events in which official WGI trained staff or volunteers are responsible for monitoring timing in body and equipment warm ups. This is just basically saying, I don't want that band kid doing my movement warm up when they
right.
don't know that I get 9 minutes or I get, this many minutes. They want
Exactly.
somebody who knows what they're doing and it should come from WGI.
Totally what I think makes complete sense.
Yep. And the administrative review, the proposal does not define what could constitute quote unquote small stipends or incentives, making it impossible to determine the potential financial impact or implementation costs. However, the cost to develop and distribute a training video outlining procedures for event partners would be minimal.
Right. I think, yeah, just know who's going to be doing that role. You've got to watch this video before, Saturday
Right.
and click a box on it that says you watched it or completed, or something.
Just do
Yeah,
a video with like those HR videos you get at work where you have to submit the quiz
exactly. I
after.
mean, I can't imagine it would be more than 30 minutes.
Right. When does timing
You
start?
know,
You know.
like it's not hard, but in that environment, I know it is easy to. There's a lot going on. There's like, oh, what am I looking? Oh, I want to watch the group warm up. It's kind of fun. You get distracted and forget, but it's like, no, like that's a very important job because
Right.
it affects the flow of the entire event.
And then you have the guards that want to take their time leaving warm up. Oh, just one more talk. No, get out.
Go
When I
get
when I was the next instructor in, I told my kid, go. You go in there and start. You push them out of the way.
They tell me I've got 1 minute left. I'm like, great, start roll it up. Let's go. Line up.
Take one more toss and gather your equipment. Let's go.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
don't have it now, you're not going to have it.
Exactly. Like, I don't like I'm like I'm not exact yeah, but this one makes sense though. I think this is just more make sure everyone's staff is prepared.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with this, and especially distribute a training video. Like you said, it should take 30 minutes
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
most to get through
Just
all of
making
it.
sure they understand those differences in the classes and have a
This is when
solid.
timing starts. This is when timing stops.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
All right, next section is classifications. Some interesting ones here. Proposal
Mhm.
number 12, increase championship promotions for scholastic classes only to Scholastic A, top 10 are promoted.
Mhm.
Scholastic Open, top 5 are promoted. Currently, Scholastic A, it's the top 5 go to Open, and Open, the top 3 go to World.
Right.
So A, you would double it. You'd send the top 10, which is half the finalists.
Yeah.
And then Scholastic Open, you would send the top five to World.
Yeah.
Um, encourage continued competitive progression within the Scholastic classes and no financial impact because you're promoting more groups. It doesn't cost more if you're a bare class to go. I'm actually fine with this. My only caveat to any of these pushing more groups up, there needs to be better ways for groups to move back down. And mainly and this really affects Scholastic World because that's our smallest class at the moment. And this is the first year where we've had groups not make semifinals.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
And the rule is if you make semifinals in your class at Dayton, you cannot move down. And because Scholastic World has had everybody making semis, groups have not been able to move down. So they are literally trapped in Scholastic World. Their only option is don't go to Dayton for a year
Hmm.
and then you can move down. But I don't see anything wrong with this. It'll push more groups up to Scholastic World. So then you will have groups not making semis. So groups can
Well,
then move back down.
and clearing out the A class, encouraging the growth out of A. And there's so many A. I mean, gosh, I would say, I mean, sometimes it feels like almost all the top 20 A guards could easily be fine and open.
Especially this year.
Get them up, move them out. They don't need to keep lingering. It encourages that growth, just keeps the flow going instead of this. I mean, A class feels stagnant a lot. I mean, I think that's why it's like so many groups are in that class and they never go anywhere because they're not getting pushed up.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't see anything against this one. I think 10 is a reasonable number. I
Yeah.
think five out of Scholastic Open is a reasonable number. But you know what? I would say the same for, well, Independent's tough.
I think yeah,
Ooh.
independent A and open both are it's a little no. Well, some of those groups don't even like they're there one year and they're not there the next. Like they don't that poof, they're gone. They might the scholastic stuff, they're a little bit more consistent and continuing to have the group
Right.
versus the independent ones that ebb and flow a little bit more.
Yeah. So I'm all for this one. I don't see
Yeah.
anything against it. So yeah, move them on up. All right. Proposal number 13. Basically, all this one says is they want to change the promotion for independent open class only,
Oh,
where
this is,
the winner is promoted and then the next two, second and third place, are reviewed. They're not automatically promoted. Everything else stays the same. The top five from A class, the top three from Scholastic Open, and then the 3 year rule is left in there for the A class. They literally only changed the open winner moving up and then the next two groups being reviewed. And this was submitted by Origins, which it reads as sour grapes to me. Like you're just upset that now you have two world guards. You didn't want to get moved up. You took the year off 2 years ago. You come back out. You have a banger year, and now you're going to world. Now you have the two world guards.
Mhm.
And yeah, I will say this in their rationale, I do agree. I think where they talk about the jump from A to open is nowhere near as hard as the jump from open to world. And I do 100% agree with that. That
Yeah,
jump from open to world is brutal.
yeah.
And I do know like many of the world guards don't move back down. So we are starting to bloat the independent world class. I get this.
Yeah, this was like wasn't this year like the biggest it's been in I don't know, ever maybe? I don't know, but
Yeah.
there were like 30 something of them.
33 we're at championships. So, I mean, I get it, but I'm not for this one.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna get promoted, don't they kind of all review them all anyway? Do they not do that? I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't think they do that anymore.
It's
I
just
don't
odd.
think yeah, I think it's just the automatic,
If
the
you're in
five and the
if
three.
you're in that window, you're gonna go. So okay.
Yeah. Because they used to do that. Yeah. They used to review other finalists because you'd have sometimes the top seven from Scholastic got moved up, the top five automatic,
Yeah, that's
and
what
then
I'm
they
thinking.
pick the
Yes,
next
that's
two.
right. Some years it was like, they're in, okay, they got, whatever, but okay, that's right.
And there's numbers in here talking about just the number of guards that have made semis or haven't even that have been preliminated since moving up to world class. And once again, the rationale I completely understand, and I understand where they're coming from. I don't know. I don't agree with the rule change.
Yeah. I guess the thing that kind of stood out to me, I'm like, this particular one, I'm like, you've already got a world team, you know how to do world class. So you're gonna have two groups. Great. you already know what to do. Like, I was just kind of like, but I mean, I don't know. But again, yeah, but the shift from having those students moving into that division, that is hard and a challenge. But I don't think this one's gonna pass. But
Yeah, agreed. And
yeah.
I completely understand that moving to world is brutal because percussion talked about it last year, adding a fourth class. Now they were looking at adding a class between open and world, like an open plus or
That's
world
right.
light.
Yes.
Like maybe we need something beyond world that you could send the top 10 up to or the top eight. You put the Paramount, the Fusion, the SAC, the Fantasia, the people that are always at the top of the class,
Mhm.
let them have their own section where they can push all the boundaries they want, give them almost no restrictions, let them go hog wild. And then you have independent world where these other guards can,
Yeah, independent elite, or I don't know whatever you want to call it. I mean,
right.
I don't know what you call it, but like, yeah, that would be.
And leave it as like eight groups. And that would help these promoted groups, have a chance of making finals.
I mean, gosh, there's still some great groups in independent world that didn't even get out of prelims that really are doing some great stuff, you know.
It's just
But
brutal to get out of
it's
there.
it's yeah, it's tough and yeah, it'd be interesting to see what discussions maybe come out of this, if anything.
All right. Proposal number 14, revise mid-season reclassification as follows. The head judge may recommend any group for reclassification review at a WGI regional based on current adjudication criteria. All reclassification recommendations will be evaluated following the current reclassification procedures. If approved, the group is reclassified. If denied, the group is not eligible for further review for the remainder of the season. And this is what the
Hmm.
change is. So it's basically saying keep the review process as is. If you're approved, great, you get moved. If you don't, then you're done for the season. You get to stay in your class. Because currently you can get reviewed at any region you go to. And that happened to Wiley. They were reviewed
Right.
at the first regional. They didn't get bumped. And then they won the Mansfield regional towards the end of the season and got bumped out of that regional win.
And that last week, right before their state event or their local circuit, and then they went to WGI and they were in
Right.
the, yeah, that's
By the
right.
time they got the news, regional season was done because it takes about 10 days for that process to happen.
And they
So
had the local circuit, so they were in the new division at home, and then got to go
right. Then
to
they went to
the
Dayton.
event.
So this is saying if you get one chance to be reclassified. You either do or you don't, and then end. No more down the road. Which honestly, I mean, I kind of agree with that. I mean, we talked about it briefly where we had local guards that would game the system where they would come out completely bare bones because our circuit has bump up
Yeah.
weeks and then bump up weeks end. And then all of
Right.
a sudden they come out after and they're completely done and they 10 point everybody.
Yeah, yeah, that's a little wonky.
And this wasn't proposed by Wiley. So people listening thinking that
Yeah, no,
Wiley,
it's
no,
not.
this was
No,
proposed by somebody at Norwin High School, but this was
they're not in any promotion. They're just
right. So I mean, I kind of agree with just
kind of, yeah,
I just hate that when
yeah,
you because this happened last year. Wiley got promoted at the literal end of the season. They went. It was the
right.
next to last regional weekend, but they didn't find out until after the big
Still,
regionals had finished.
right, because of that time
So they
span.
had a week. Now, granted, it worked out for them. They were seventh at Dayton. Let's review. They were fine, but still, I mean, this could happen to another guard, and then they're like,
It could have totally tanked them, and
right,
which proposal 15 kind of is goes into some other. It sort of piggybacks on this. I think they're
right. So let's read 15. If a color guard is reclassified within 7 days of their respective state circuit championship, that ensemble may elect to remain in their original circuit classification for the state event rather than being required to immediately perform in the newly assigned class. The
Mhm.
following WGI contest, they will be required to perform in their new class. So
Mhm.
this happened to Wiley. We just mentioned it. They got bumped literally the last regional weekend, find out they're an open. Their state finals were that weekend. They find out on like a Sunday, and then
Mhm.
their circuit championships are the next Saturday. And now they find out they're an open class and then the guard that proposed this one is Carroll High School, and it almost happened to them. They
Mhm.
were under review going into state finals, and they didn't get bumped, but they were worried they were going to have to compete in open with zero notice.
Right.
And in that crazy IHSCGA circuit, right? That's the circuit they're in. I
Yep.
mean, that's a cutthroat circuit across all the classes. So I could see the massive stress there. But then when they went out in WGI, they would then perform in open or world if it was an open going to world guard. I think this might get shut down just because that's a local circuit thing. That's not a WGI thing.
Yeah, that's
Like WGI has no say in what IHSCGA does.
right.
So your circuit, I'm not saying all those
The
letters.
Indiana circuit.
Yeah, all those circuits, AIA, whatever your circuit is,
Yeah.
CWE, they would have to be the ones to say, okay, here's the rule. You can still perform in your original class if you get promoted by WGI.
Hmm.
I mean, what's WGI going to do? Go knock on the door. Hey, open
No.
up. Hey, this guard, we just promoted them, but you keep him in that class. WGI is
Hmm.
not going to care. So I don't think it's going to pass just for that reason.
Yeah.
But I do agree with the concept.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Concept is good, but not gonna. Yeah. 14, the proposal 14, I would be more likely to get passed, but 15,
yeah,
uh,
you get one and done review. Yeah, and
and
then 15 is that's really something you just got to take your circuit proposals, which they do as well. So
mhm.
all
Yeah.
those are different, but they're usually right around the same time period. So if your local circuit does proposals, you might have missed it by now, but usually around the same time WGI does theirs.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to adjudication.
Yes.
Proposal number 16. This one it came back from last year
I was
as
gonna say
well.
this was the one I remembered from last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So utilize a 130/70 scoring system in the independent world class. Now, okay, so I as I'm reading this doesn't say for equipment. Last year, I think it was just for equipment.
Just the one. Yeah,
This
but this
says
is
use
like this.
130/70 for everything.
Hmm.
Hmm. That's even more interesting because last year it was just on equipment.
Yeah.
So for those of you familiar, especially in the A class, there's a weighted system that's geared more towards your excellence and your achievement rather than your composition. This
Mm-hmm.
is a flip of that where you get more weight added for your composition, your book, your what,
Hmm.
rather than your excellence or achievement. And I believe I'll have to check with the guy at Band Scores. He sent me a message saying that if this were implemented this year, Paramount would have won by 0.18 or something like that. But
Oh, no.
I was looking at it thinking it was just equipment because I'm like, oh, I saw this one last year. And then now as I read it to you, I'm like, wait, I think
The
this
whole.
is a whole scoring thing.
Yeah.
No, sorry. They would have won by 0.02.
Oof.
Paramount would have 0.02. I mean,
Oof.
they only
Wow.
lost by zero point 0.1, so it's not a
Right.
huge.
It's not. But wow. Yeah, that's interesting.
But this was proposed by Fantasia. They proposed this last year as well. But last year, with it being equipment, I was absolutely against it because you're pushing the activity in the wrong direction. To me, it's because when you're just like, oh, I can throw a 7 in the air, turn 3 times under it, doesn't matter if I catch it. I mean, yes, it'll boost my score if I catch it, but I'm still getting more points for what I'm doing rather than how
You
well
still
I'm
have
doing
to
it.
do it, but you still have to do it well for it to be effective. Yeah. Oh, oh.
I don't like this. I'll be honest. I would rather see a clean show.
I want a clean double.
I thought there was enough room for three. Wouldn't it be better if we all did a triple?
No, I said a clean double. I'm so glad you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
Please let us know if you get that reference.
Oh,
I mean,
please
that movie came
do.
out in 2000, though. I don't know if people are going to get that reference.
Wow, isn't that 26 years ago? My heavens.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Great
that.
movie.
Great soundtrack.
Yes. I don't know how I feel about this.
Hmm.
Actually, no, I do know. I don't like it.
I think it's
I'm just thrown because it was in my head that it was equipment only, and then I'm reading it. Wait, it's not. It's for everything. And
the
maybe
whole.
that's the whole new approach with resubmitting it. Okay, we tried equipment. Let's just try across the board. I understand the world wants to, like I said, greater emphasis on imagination and innovation and whatnot. But I just when I look at like what people would try to do equipment wise and just
But I mean, it's not necessarily gonna make people do more crazy stuff. If they can't do it, they can't do it. So I'm not gonna write it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I don't like it.
I'd be curious to be interesting to like talk to them about like what can you talk about this more? Like, I want to hear you talk about this and explain, the words are one thing, but like I want to hear their brain of like what are you thinking about when you're saying like what's behind this? Talk about this. Yeah, I'm just curious just to see like where they're coming from with that and what made them propose it and like just be interesting just to kind of get into the weeds of that a little bit more, but I don't agree with it.
We shall see what happens. All right, proposal number 17. Limit rounds to 8 to 10 groups. That's it.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this was in there last year too, where they were trying, and I feel like we
I
just
think it was
passed a proposal last year where the round groups were set based on the number of performers because it was the weird every 10 you add
yes,
another round kind of
I
thing.
do remember that. Yeah.
So I have a feeling this is just going to get shut down because like we just did this, girl. We
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
and I get it, judges fatigue, when they have to judge 13,
But
14 groups in a setting and they limit it to 10 and it talks about breaks and everything in here, but I'm just like I just look at it, I'm like we did this, we fixed, quote unquote fixed this last year,
yeah.
or we
I
addressed it
mean,
last
yeah,
year.
12 groups is a lot, but like it happens in marching band all the time. You're watching 12, 15 groups in a row. You might get a little break in between them, ball, but like still it's no, next.
Yeah. It says right here in the rationale, we understand this rule was passed last year. However, it was not followed for all the rounds. We are proposing that if we follow the rule in the future, if there's a situation where only two or three, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just don't think that's going to be seconded for that reason. So,
yeah.
all right, proposal number 18. This is another lengthy one. All official adjudication meetings, training sessions, educational seminars, critique instruction, and judge development programs conducted by WGI shall be made accessible to judges affiliated with recognized WGI circuit partners, either in person, through live virtual access, or through recorded distribution as WGI sees fit. And then it goes on a little bit, but that pretty much covers it. And honestly, this one seems completely reasonable. If WGI is training their judges to approach the activity in a specific way,
Right.
make that information accessible to all the local circuit judges as well.
Everyone. Exactly. I totally, yeah. Oh, I need to watch that video. Great, I'll watch it. You could even make it available to the circuit, directors of units in the circuit. I mean, that could help immensely with just their grasp of how things work and what's being looked at and all that stuff. So I mean, this one's almost too wordy for what it's proposing. It's almost
Right.
like you didn't need all like just offer, make sure everything's available to everybody. Like just be the note on it, there is a possible financial whatever, but it's like, oh, really just record the meetings you're already having.
Yeah.
Record them and then upload. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. The only thing they did mention was the proposal that WGI mentioned was that the proposal would be referred to the governance committee to determine applicability across all divisions because they want color guard, percussion, and winds to kind of operate the same way in that regards.
Yes, which is smart. I think that's very smart. So,
So they would have to do this judging training for all three divisions
right.
for all of the circuits. So
Yeah.
things like that. But I do
But
like the idea. I think it's great. Put the information out there, put the education out there. And like you said, instructors that can learn, oh, this is how the judges are working, or this is how they're approaching this year. I mean, WGA does put out some videos about that,
yeah, there's some of it, but
but I feel like there could be a lot more. They can, and if they do a recording, they can edit out the sensitive content that they were talking about within the administrative review.
yeah, if
So,
there's anything that not everybody needs to know, then just cut it out or whatever.
okay. That was the end of that section. Moving on to policies and procedures. Proposal number 19. Any proposals submitted for a vote before the membership board or authorized voting body shall require an affirmative vote of no less than 2/3 of votes cast to be adopted. This was submitted by the CEO of WGI, and percussion and winds already do a 2/3 voting. So they kind of want to get everybody on the same page. We just mentioned that, and they want to operate the same.
Keeping it consistent. Yeah.
Honestly, because of the way the especially with the advisory board, the way the advisory board is set up, it's not going to change anything because the world guards carry all the weight, and they still would with 2/3. of 50, you would need 34 votes to
Hmm.
pass. And you have 33 world guards voting essentially because of the promoter group. So you would just need one more yes, which you're probably going to get from somebody.
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't think it would change a whole lot
Yeah.
because right now it's a simple majority.
Hmm.
I don't really see any major issue there. I was thinking about it and then I was like running the numbers in my head. I'm like, it kind of works out anyway. If it's something the world guards want, it's going to pass no matter what. Proposal number 20. Modify the process for instructors to join the steering committee from an election to an appointment. The verbiage would read as follows: membership 10 individuals, 5 instructor representatives appointed by the color guard education coordinator, 2 adjudicator representatives appointed by the chief judge. Each instructor and adjudicator position will be a 2-year term. Terms will be staggered for continuity. Then you have the education coordinator who will serve as a chairperson, the chief judge, and the director of color guard. This is a lot. It keeps going.
Hmm. It's fine, I guess. I
So,
don't.
currently, the steering committee is elected by the advisory board. That's something they will do at this meeting. It
Mhm.
is a panel of 5 people, and that is separate from the director of color guard, chief judge, and the education coordinator. So you have those 3 that operate already. Then you have a panel of 5. So this kind of one turns the whole steering committee into all 10 of them.
Hmm. Okay.
Instructor and adjudicator representatives must meet eligibility requirements set forth by the board of directors. Steering committee functions as a resource jointly in common responsibilities during the off season. All communication between instructors and administrators other than philosophical issues should cease when the season is underway to avoid any appearance of undue influence unless approved by the chief judge or director of color guard. So what the steering committee does now, they do a few things. Like they work with the judges sheets, the judging sheets in general. They do the unit reviews at the regionals. So they're the panel that is reviewing your guard to get promoted or
Okay.
reclassified, we should say. And then
Yep.
they also have a kind of like a mentorship kind of program for those promoted groups. So you get promoted from A to open, they assign you a steering committee member to help guide you with your transition to that class. So I don't really know kind of what all we're going here with the appointed rather than voting. I don't understand why we'd want to appoint them over electing them.
Yeah.
And maybe that's buried in the rationale here. I'll be honest, I did not read this one all the way through. But this one says if approved, the proposal must be then reviewed by the governance committee and subsequently ratified by the board of directors pursuant to the board's authority, which basically WGI is saying ain't gonna happen. The way I read that sentence, it's just like, sorry, girl, we ain't doing
Yeah.
that.
Thank you. No.
And this could be addressing the fact that sometimes people just don't want to run for steering committee or board of directors. We talked about getting new life in there, but just you have to run, essentially, quote unquote, run for the office and then be elected.
Yeah.
And they posted
Oh, the list of the people that
the
were.
bomb nominees, and there's only 3 people that are nominated for the steering committee:
Yeah.
Becca Anderson, Chris Cook, and Michael Shapiro.
Mhm.
And then one of them is also on the board of directors nominees. So it's like they're only going to get
Oh,
into
that's
one.
right. Yes, that's right. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
So
I mean, and they've all been around a long time.
it's just tricky because, yeah, I understand appointing, but then you have people that want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Too many irons in the fire, or too much. That gray area is get real gets she's real gray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which leads us to proposal number 21: increase diversity of thought, experience, viewpoint, and opinion by opening membership to the board of directors and steering committee to anyone who is interested.
Which this was from last year also.
This one was from last year also. Yeah, it says in the rationale they put the best ideas often come from the most unexpected places. Current policy restricts participation on the board and steering committee to individuals affiliated with a unit who participate in WGI events. But there are
Mhm.
many talented creative people who may be education coordinators in local circuits, judges, former instructors. Removing this current limiting membership eligibility requirement allows for more people to be involved. It should not restrict opportunities for participation at any level whenever possible. And WGI put in the exact same note. If approved, the proposal must be reviewed by the governance committee. Sorry, girl, ain't happening. Try again next year.
I mean, maybe, but I like the idea of this though. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like,
We talked about it last year. Like you would need to have like a vetting process.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, but just because my group doesn't always go to, regionals or world championships, but were very active in the local circuit. Be a great fit for, especially representing the A class side of
right?
things, speaking up for the voice of the bulk of the activity. But yeah, I don't know that this will pass.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
they'll have a
mean,
bigger discussion about it, but I don't. Yeah.
we shall see. Proposal 22. This one is targeted for a very specific reason. 22 and 23 are just
Yeah, they're pretty good.
they're pointed exactly. If a unit is reclassified for a reason besides an official WGI promotion, that unit is moved to the bottom of any existing wait list, regardless of priority placement due to previous classification. Rationale. We have learned from the past that the current rule is ambiguous and there is room for a variety of interpretations. Additionally, if a unit is reclassified because of a rule violation, they move to the bottom of any waitlist. Technically, you are entering that class as of the reclassification date. I'm here for it. Let's
Yep.
just be completely real.
Keep the playing field very fair, and yeah, I mean, yeah,
The S hit the fan last year when Paramount A moved to open and got immediate access to the main draw. That's when the S hit the fan. And Proposal 23 kind of goes alongside this because there was a lot of commotion about this. But
mm,
I agree with this. Like if you move yourself down, you know what? We're gonna move down from world to open because we can't do world this year. We just can't. Great, go to the wait list. Especially if you do it mid-season, register in open or register wherever.
yeah,
If you're not promoted or moved by WGI, because WGI can move you down.
yes,
It's
happened,
rare, but they can.
happened.
Then yeah, you go to the wait list. If you just you choose to move yourself for whatever reason, for a rule violation, or just we were going to come out world, we didn't get the talent to come out.
Right,
You know what? We can fit in the age limit. We're going to move down to open. Okay, that's fine. Wait list.
go to the back of the line. Yep,
Go to the back of the line. So yeah, I'm all for this.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes of that.
Yes. Proposal 23, this kind of goes hand in hand with that. Whenever a wait list is utilized for participation in any class, division, regional event, or championship event conducted by WGI, the wait list shall be publicly posted and maintained in a manner accessible to participating units. It must include the order of the units on the wait list, the date and time each unit was added, timestamps for all entries and modifications, and notification of any movement, advancement, withdrawal, whatever. Basically, so what this all boils down to is last year with the wait list, when you go to the WGI current entries, the wait list was just alphabetical. They were not in registration order.
Right,
So nobody knew who the 41st guard was, who's first in line, who's second in line. Now, the units themselves were told you're third in line, you're second in line, whatever. So they all
right.
knew that. But then all of a sudden, other guards were getting into the main draw. And I've talked to people going, oh, this is all hearsay. No, I've talked to directors that were on the wait list. I've talked to the director of Noir. Like, he told me, he's like, he knew he was third on the list. And then Liz Eclipse moved down. So they moved up to second. And then FIU moved down. And
Oh,
so,
that's right.
so
There was that
they got in
quibbling
that
around.
way. They
Yeah,
knew who was in front of them, but other groups were like, wait, we were ahead of this group, but now it's just, so they're just saying, make it obvious, rank us in order.
hmm
Guard A is first, guard B is second, guard C is third. And this
hmm
is when they were added to the wait list, and then move them up just for,
and well, and transparency and being
yeah, transparent.
forthcoming about the reality of everything. Yeah, don't hide stuff. Yeah,
I don't understand the administrative review. The proposal incorrectly states that the financial impact is zero. There are significant database and website programming costs that have not been considered. WGI would need to investigate the feasibility of the proposal as it relates to required programming, blah, 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 blah. You just want to be able to stack the deck, and this is you covering it. That's your way of getting around that. It is not that hard to put guards in order that they're in. But
no,
once they put those guards in order, then they have to honor that.
full transparency.
Right. I think that's very simple. Like you said, full transparency.
Yeah,
Let people know where they stand.
yeah,
Or let's just get rid of the wait list, figure out a way to get rid of the wait list, and it's not an issue.
exactly. And if the event is full, then it's full. But that's the only class that has the wait list, right? Isn't
Well,
independent
there are
open?
wait lists at the regionals. where it doesn't matter what class you're in, that it's just if a group drops
Right.
out, then they get another
Right.
A guard in or another.
Right. I'm sorry. I was only thinking of World Championships.
Well, I mean, well, that because that's where the issue really was. I mean,
Well,
independent
right.
open, yeah, but yeah, agreed. But they're looking at it from a whole
The
perspective,
whole, right. The full,
but in reality, we're talking about the date wait list.
well, but yeah,
I'm
but
all
again,
for
yeah,
this.
just be fully transparent about it. And either, again, just either do it or don't. Like, you don't have to, like, you don't want to have a wait list, then don't have one.
Yep,
The event's full.
yeah. Say sorry about you, girl. When you try to register, nope, you can't. All right, let's move on. Those are the two kind of spicy ones in here. Very pointed. Proposal 24: implement an all black dress code for timing and penalty judges. This is basically just to say they're not a distraction on the performance floor because they move around a lot. They got to check behind the props. They're counting performers. All they have to do their job, and it's just so they're not a distraction. And then the administrator review just says they don't specify whether judges would be expected to use personal clothing or whether WGI would provide branded, which would then incur costs.
This one, I get it. I don't know that it needs to be all black. I think you could just make sure that they're in, if you're going to do TNP, then you need to be in generic benign color. Don't come wearing your best flashiest neon gown. It's not about you. You need to keep something that just can still look cute and but be in navy top and khaki pants or whatever. It doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I almost feel like it should be kind of like a set, almost uniform, maybe not all black, but because if you're going on the floor, you want to be able to spot the TMP judge
Well, right, especially
for
yeah,
setup and
as
stuff.
as a director or whatnot. Yeah, I want to be able to see where do they go. I want to be able to see them.
Right. If you have a pre-show and you want to make sure it starts at the right time, you need to, you need to make sure you're with the TMP judge or your kids don't step over that line.
But again, they don't need to be wearing neon. That I get it. Black isn't maybe not the answer correct exactly, but why's it gotta be black? But yeah,
Well, we
that
know why it's got to be black because the base tarp is black, so you blend into it.
right. That's
I know you. I know you're making a joke with why.
at World Championships at least. It's not always black in local circuits.
Yeah, local circuit's true, yeah, but at all WGI events, it's black.
But
Your circuit still use like a tan floor or anything, or our circuit switched to black with WGI.
no, I think ours is black now. I do miss the tan tarp sometimes.
Yeah, some people talk about that. It's weird watching the old videos, just like how bright it is, and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I forgot there used to be a tan tarp. And then that was 2012 they switched,
Gosh, was it been that long ago?
maybe 14. I
Wow.
have to go back to the videos.
Look at a video and find, yeah, to see. But gosh, yeah.
It was around there when they switched. All right, proposal 25: standardization of timing and penalty judge placement and pre-show and or post-show accessibility procedures. Amend the WGI Color Guard rules and policy manual to explicitly define and standardize the physical positioning and operational responsibilities of the TMP judge at all WGI sanctioned and circuit partner events. The manual should specify that the TMP judge is to be positioned at the front sideline performance timeline, preferably at or near the center point of the floor, ensuring consistent and equitable visibility of the performance area.
Mhm.
This language should further establish this placement as operational standard. It's basically just so everybody knows the TMP judges. You can find them. It's official. You need to be here.
Right.
I guess maybe people have just run into issues where they can't track down the TMP judge or
Yeah, it's not always, yeah, they're not always the easiest to be like, oh wait, where'd they go? Which kind of goes back to proposal 24 of putting them in something that is easily
identifiable.
right.
Especially because you're usually
So that
following the guard that's leaving to make sure they're out of the door, they didn't drop anything, and they turn right back around while the other guard's already starting to set up. So
right. I'd almost say 24 and 25 just mush them together and just give more specifics and purpose and clarification to the role of the TMP judge. Yeah.
Proposal 26. This one I am all about. WGI to create a dedicated section on its official website titled Show Insights. This platform would allow participating ensembles to submit an optional narrative explaining the artistic intent behind their production. These insight submissions would be publicly accessible to audiences, educators, and performers. Submission by ensembles. Units may submit a short written explanation. Optional creative elements that could be included show concept and inspiration, symbolism, themes, Easter eggs, music selection, costume and prop design choices. Basically, everything I've been asking about World Guards were like release the spiel sheets where they explain their show to the judges.
Right.
Tell me what your show's about, right? Like,
Just show me that info. Yeah.
and I agree. It would really increase my appreciation for the show if I know, like we talked about Center Grove all year last year. Why
Hmm.
was that girl in yellow?
Right.
Why, what?
What is, yeah, what's the thought behind that? And just, yeah, just have the little, few sentences about it even would have been better than nothing.
Right. Just
Yeah.
explain the show to me. You don't have to get too deep into it. It was like, oh, okay, I get it. She is this. This is why this is happening. Got it.
Yeah.
Things like that. And if you want to go into further detail, like it says, hidden details or Easter eggs within the production or why you pick the costumes. I feel like guards already do this, but they release it at the end of the season for some reason on their Instagrams.
Yeah.
Like, why not do this at the
Oh,
beginning
do
of the
it before
season?
the first show. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
will,
wait till
yeah,
you go to your first regional and then release it. So when people have
yeah.
seen you or something.
I know like judges like within competition suite, there is an option now where you can, I forget what it's called specifically, but within competition suite, there is like additional info or something like that. There's a tab for that. You can click on it and it will show you the spiel sheet. But that's only as a judge. So the
Mm.
audience, you're not going to see that. So I think that would be, oh, well, it's already there. Now, it's not consistent. Not every group has that show up. So that can be tricky.
Yeah, the groups have to put in the effort to submit this information.
Right. And to make sure it's uploaded to, yeah, to competition suite and have it show up and whatever. But getting it to be where everyone could see it, that's, would be nice. I mean, the
Yeah,
administration administrative review comment was kind of like they're not going to do it, but
right. And to be fair, I mean, it says the proposal is incorrect in stating no financial impact as there would be significant cost to provide this service, depending on the scope of services offered across all three divisions, because they would do this for color guard, percussion, and wins. You're
right.
talking, they say over 1,700 groups and the IT infrastructure required to support and maintain the pages referenced above. And that's a lot of information data to be managed.
Yeah, and like, are you gonna wipe it every year from the previous season? Are you gonna keep that as like an archive? Are you that to think about too of like, well, how big does the server need to be to support this?
How
Uh,
many data centers do we have to build for
are we
this?
gonna I mean kind of yeah, it's a I like the idea of it. I don't think it's gonna pass.
I would just encourage guards put this information out earlier so people can enjoy your show. Don't wait till after Dayton to explain to me what your show was.
Yeah.
Because then I don't watch it. Maybe I watch it one more time on YouTube. Like, oh, okay, that's why she was in yellow. Okay, great. Well, I would
Mhm.
love to know that at
Or
the
like,
Indian
oh, that's what
regional.
that prop was supposed to represent. Oh,
Right.
this is why the tarp looked like this, or what, whatever.
All right. Proposal number 27. Aye. WGI shall recognize and preserve the autonomy of local and regional circuits in the administration and enforcement of their own competitive rules, policies, classifications, adjudication systems, and event structures for circuit operated events. Participation in a local circuit shall not require full alignment with WGI classifications, adjudication procedures, or competitive formats, provided that circuit policies do not compromise participant safety or violate WGI eligibility requirements. Units entering WGI sanctioned regional or championship events comply with all current WGI competitive rules and classification procedures at the time of entry. WGI shall not mandate that local circuits mirror WGI classification structures, promotion policies, or adjudication systems for local competition.
Uh-huh. So basically, this says I can have my group be in Scholastic World in my local circuit and go to a regional and compete in Scholastic A or Scholastic Open, which is gross and gets really I don't the rationale here does I think I get where they're coming from with this idea, but it creates, at least for me, it creates some weird. It's like, no, like, are we A or are we open? Are we open or are we world? What are we? Why is it different in different like why is it different at home versus when we go to nationals? Why? That doesn't make sense. It's confusing for the kids, it's confusing for the parents, for the staff, for like what's going on.
And they say in their administrative review, WGI has never required circuit partners to follow WGI policies or procedures, and in fact, encourages them to make decisions that best serve their members. However, color guards participating in WGI must comply with Rule 1.5, which requires competing groups to compete in the same or higher classification at WGI events as they do in their local circuits. So you can compete up,
Right.
but you cannot
Okay.
compete down.
Right.
I think even my local circuit AIA says, we follow a lot of WGI policies, but we have our own. The WGI does not say you must follow our rules. The only rule you have to follow, you have to compete in the same class or higher, and that's only if you're going to Dayton or going to WGI
True.
event.
Yeah,
If you're not competing at WGI, what does it matter?
that's true. Okay. Yeah.
So I think this will get shut down because they just said they're like, we don't force the circuits to follow our rules.
Right. This is more of a what class you going to put your kids in and just okay, great. Do it. But if you come to a regional, you're gonna have to either be in that class or the one up. You can't, yeah, no wiggling around.
Your circuit may have the rule where you have to be in the same division as well, which could be
Right.
the issue. Because we had a guard that moved up to open so they can go to Dayton because of the wait list. They wanted to get into Dayton, so they went to
Okay.
open,
Right.
but they also moved up to open within our circuit. And I'm wondering if AIA requires that.
Well, right. If the circuit required them to be consistent across everything versus they could have been A at home and done open and in Dayton. But yeah, I don't think this one's gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right, couple more. Rules is our new section. Proposal number 28 allows schools that qualify for combined schools to have an additional team in Regional A. Now, a similar one was on last year that got shut down, where it was saying let combined schools have 2 units, and that got shut down. So this is maybe being a little more targeted to say Regional A, so you're not dealing with two combined groups going to Dayton kind of thing. Maybe
Mhm.
that's why it was changed to just Regional A. From my understanding, we don't have a lot of combined schools in our area, but I know other circuits do, and this does impact them.
Yep.
So honestly, I don't see an issue with it. I don't know why people would have an issue with you having multiple groups in combined school, especially if you're putting a Regional A team together. Like,
Well, they keep thinking that there's some sort of competitive advantage. No, I'm having to combine to even have a group. I'm having to pull from 5, 10 high schools to even get at least the minimum 5 kids to have a group. Like that doesn't sound like an advantage to me because those 5 kids could be all freshmen, brand new, never touched a flag before in their life. Just because you're pulling from all these schools doesn't mean you're at some big advantage of gonna have a super group. That's not no.
right. And
You're
if you're
trying to
polling a
provide
group of
opportunities.
if you have to have one team, you're going to have those kids that have never spun with your kids that are 3, 4 years in.
And then your level of kid is, from 0 to 100, and it's like, and you've got 20 kids, it's like they're all over the place. You
Yeah,
can't,
let me split them
I
into 10
mean,
and 10, and I can like you have a varsity and JV guard. Like
exactly. And this one I think needs to pass. I don't know that it will.
I think the problem is it doesn't affect many people, so they don't understand it. And the people that it does impact, it impacts them greatly. Like I can see a lot of the world guards being like, I don't get it. Like why does it matter? And so
Not
they
about
won't.
you. It's about it's about the A guards who
Right. Well, I think
the
because it's not,
activity.
they don't it doesn't affect them. They don't care. Is
Well,
why
they
I'm
need to
kind
think about other people than themselves.
of agreed. Administrative review, any scholastic eligibility proposals passed by an advisory board is referred to the governance committee and then the board of directors to maintain equity across all 3 divisions. So this would have to mirror in winds and percussion.
And I think there actually is, maybe I'm wrong. I thought there was a proposal on either percussion or winds that had to do something about combined school group type of, there was something
Mm,
else. Not this exact situation, but there was something else involving the groups that pull from multiple, schools to form a group,
gotcha.
which is interesting, just that like, oh, they're dealing with it too over there. It's
Yep.
not just the flags, it's
Not just us.
the drums and horns too.
Proposal number 29, amend Rule 2.1 to include minimum vertical clearance requirements for the designated competition area at Color Guard regionals. Proposed language added. The competition area must provide a minimum unobstructed vertical clearance of 20 feet throughout the entirety of the designated performance space. So basically, so you don't have that giant air conditioning unit or that unmovable basketball hoop that's right there blocking the floor. We've all
We
seen that
pulled it
kid
up.
hit it.
Well, she's still right there, and I'm about to throw my flag or whatever into it, and it's gonna bounce off and hurt somebody.
Yeah.
I
And
have
the rationale just talks about with having the minimum 20 feet, it mirrors the 25 feet of raised basketball hoops. Like that.
Mhm.
It makes perfect sense because some sites have these obstructions that they cannot move. And
Yep.
it's like, come on, y'all.
Well, I mean, if anything, I this would be a rule that I mean, honestly, probably should go down to the local circuits because a lot of those tiny gyms that are getting used, she's not cute. She is not cute for color guard.
With those basketball hoops that don't move up that are permanent.
They're just they're just there, and it's like, well, unless you designed your show to work within the parameters of like knowing, okay, I'm going to make sure I'm 2 feet in front of all basketball goals in any given arena just in case they're there. Great. Now here's our area. Like,
Right.
I mean, I would probably be the type to do that, but like, okay, great. No issues for us. But
It's like, oh, we're going to Stevenson High School this week. We have to rewrite our show because you know those how that
right. Okay.
we
Now,
know that
if
gym.
you're in the back, the flag line, make sure we step up a little bit then when we go to this gym because there's, like, that's crazy, you know. So I think this makes sense. Yeah, making sure that the entire performance area, not just the floor, too many times have I seen at least stuff
Right.
going up in the air, and you're like, "Yay!" Conk, and you're like, "Oh my God, what was that sound?" Oh, it's because their saber just hit the air conditioner unit and almost knocked Becky out in the corner. It's like, whoop, yeah.
Well, Becky should have been in the right spot. She wouldn't get hit.
Well, bless her. Her hair got in her eyes.
The only thing in the administrative review approval of this proposal could result in the loss of a current event site if suitable replacement sites cannot be secured. I honestly, I don't know if that's really going to happen. Like you said, local
At
circuits,
your
I think is the bigger issue. WGI doesn't really deal with these tiny gyms, so
Yeah, or not often. We'll just say
right,
not. But vet your spaces. Just make sure you're actually looking to see, show us that basketball goal. Does it go up or not? And if
right.
not, then we're not coming.
Do you have that giant HVAC unit in the middle,
Right.
that giant block?
Where is she at?
All
Can she go up a little higher or not? Yeah. Yeah.
right. Proposal number 30. Include the following or similar clauses under 4.15 eligibility and 5.4 eligibility in the WGA policy manual. Open quote. All groups must be an active member of a WGI circuit partner if their hometown is within 400 miles of any WGI circuit partner to be eligible. Close quote. The rationale: these clauses serve to protect the circuit partners and their interests. Without this clause, performing groups can leave circuit partners to perform with unaffiliated associations or circuits while maintaining their eligibility for WGI, costing circuit partners income that those groups would bring in the form of their dues and attendance purchases at circuit championships. As the role and expectations of circuit partners expands, it is important for WGI to work hand in hand with circuit partners to ensure consistency and favorable financial outcomes.
Okay. Uh-huh. Sure. Sounds great. Um,
I
Basically,
don't truly understand this one.
it sounds to me like I don't know where this whoever Sulphur High School, I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah,
thinking
no clue.
my my brain wants to think that it's in Louisiana, I think. I could be wrong. It sounds like, I guess, if you're competing in all groups must be an active member of a local.
I guess are there circuits out there that are not? I mean, clearly there are circuits that are not WGI partners, and I guess maybe people are leaving their local circuits to go compete with them and still being WGI affiliated. I don't truly understand this
And what
one.
the problem is, yeah, what what? I mean, if
It
you're
sounds like it's they're upset that it's impacting the
if
circuit.
you want to do a WGI event, do a WGI event. You don't have to be in a local circuit to do a like WGI regional, right? I
No,
don't
because this is saying that you must be a circuit partner to be eligible.
okay.
Because it's saying include the
It's
following information. All groups must be an active member of a circuit partner if their hometown was in the 400-mile radius of a circuit partner.
I'm wondering what happened to make them suggest this.
I'm curious because it's not really listed in the rationale. So I almost wonder if like people are trying to start their own circuit, so they're leaving a circuit, kind of one of those things. But
Or are they, well, yeah, yeah, I don't,
or they're like an independent group and they just, oh, we do a couple shows in this circuit and that circuit and that circuit, but we don't go to anybody's championships.
oh,
Like here in Virginia, you can say, oh, we do an AIA show, we do a KIDA show because that's just up in Pennsylvania. And then we go over to Jersey and we do some TIA stuff, but we don't do any circuit championships. We just kind of bounce around the circuits,
hmm.
but we still do Dayton. I'm assuming that's my guess is what this is attacking or addressing. There we go.
Right, yeah.
But then again, I don't know what's the
I don't,
problem there.
I want to know,
You
yeah,
still
I'm
have to
just
pay.
curious.
You have to still have to pay to go to the
Curious,
shows.
who are they talking about? What happened? Tell us,
Yeah. Who are you mad at?
give us the backstory here. What's
What's the
going,
tea, girl?
yeah, what's going
What's
on?
the tea? Because
Yeah,
clearly there's a story here. Because I mean, I know with AIA, non-member show fees are higher. So if you're that person that's floating around, you're paying more to go to a show.
like Tri-State or some of the ones around here, you can be a guest unit if you're, if you can come out of, you can come from California if you want to come to SCGC and hang out in Nashville for the weekend. I mean, but you just be a guest unit and you just pay a certain dollar amount for that and come do the show. But I don't, yeah, this one's,
Yeah. What's the tea, girl?
makes my head scratch. I'm like, okay,
All right, two more.
woo.
Proposal 31. This is a big one. Reduce the interval times for each class by 1 minute for open and world and 30 seconds for A class. So your total interval time, world class would go from 10 to 9 minutes, open class from 9 to 8 minutes, A class from 8 minutes to 7.5 minutes. This was submitted by Dale Powers, the director of Color Guard. And this was, I think, submitted for two reasons. One, it's an attempt to address the independent open waitlist. And two, the 2-day regional Sundays being forever long.
Yep. Okay.
So by shortening the window, he says in the rationale that Sunday could be reduced by up to 35 minutes just by making this change alone. And
Hmm.
then at World Championships, you could save 60 to 70 minutes at each site by doing this, depending on the class. So you're talking an hour.
It's
So
a
if you
handful of groups that could fit into that.
right, so if you're talking open class, because that was the issue, you move them down to 8 minutes. You can get 7 groups in within an hour. That's 56 minutes.
Yeah, that's
You get
wow.
7 more groups in that way. And then he goes on to mention that many groups are already performing within these intervals, anyways. Some world guards have those 7.5 minute shows that are on it forever, but
Right.
basically 80% of Scholastic A guards, 87 of independent A. This one's interesting. 68% of independent open guards, 87 Scholastic Open, and 87% for World.
Hmm.
They're all within his proposed time intervals.
Yeah.
So there are some guards that 13% of world guards took over 9 minutes for their performance setup and breakdown
Yeah.
because they get a 10-minute window.
Really
So
not that many.
so
Yeah.
if you
So
said you shortened it to 9, 87% of the world guards were fine. If you shorten open down to 8 minutes, 87% of scholastic world guards were fine, but only 68% of independent open guards were fine.
yeah.
They're the outlier. Everybody else is 87 or 80. And they said if it's not adopted, they'll be forced to reconsider one or more of the following alternatives: eliminate double panels at regional plus finals, reduce
Mm-hmm.
the number of finalists advancing in all classes at regional plus events, which honestly, we were talking about that earlier. You don't need to take 100% of the world
Hmm.
class. He's saying shorten the window,
Yeah.
or we're going to have to start cutting people that make finals at regionals. And this is one that would impact the entire activity, top to bottom. All the circuits would have to adopt this because you now have new timing windows for
Right.
everybody.
Everything gets adjusted. Yeah. But really, I mean, it's at least in the A, probably open classes. I mean, most shows are already in that maybe 4.5 minutes long, maybe 5 minutes. So you're still that independent open. That's kind of funny though. I'm like, huh, wow, that's almost
Yeah,
like they've got some work to do. But
that's some long shows.
but yeah, I mean, I think I could see this one passing.
It's an
But if it
interesting way
doesn't,
to
it'll
fit
be
more groups
interesting.
in.
Yeah. If it doesn't pass though, that'll be interesting to see who votes against it and
Right.
and then how that the ripple effect of it not passing if it doesn't. So I don't
I
know.
mean, because I mean, you have 87% of world guards already within that 9 minute window anyway.
Yeah, it's not
It's like, why are we putting a 7 minute show on the floor? You got to clean all that 7 minutes, y'all.
no like six or less. Like just
Yeah. So I mean, the more I think about this one, the at first I didn't like this one, but then I was just like, the more I think, the only thing is tricky is the A class going to 7:30. That's gonna make your schedules really weird.
yeah. I mean, I get yeah, I guess so, but
I wonder
whatever.
if you just left A class at 8.
Or bump it to seven, just 9, 8, 7.
Yeah.
But that seven, because there's some A class shows that are kind of long sometimes. I mean, well, 5-ish minutes.
Yeah. I mean,
Like
if you do a 4.5 minute
gotta,
show, that gives you 2.5 minutes instead of a breakdown.
I mean, doable if you've got a lot of props and not a lot of help, then that's tricky. But
Yeah.
that's I'm just thinking logistically for those groups, but then just plan better.
I mean, it would shake the activity up for sure. I mean, like he says, most of the guards would be fine, except for
Yeah,
independent
I mean,
open for some
which
reason
I like that he put that. I'm like, I like that. It's like, oh, that's actually, yeah, this really is not. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. Apparently, at least
for most people, right?
based on the groups that he, sampled, I guess. But
I'm sure he just went through the finalists. That would be the easiest information to pull, I think.
yeah.
Or
Hmm.
actually, no. I mean, he probably has access to all of Dayton. He could go to all the performances and just pull the timing.
Find the whoever like find the longest and the shortest and kind of figure out what that looked like. Be an interesting spreadsheet to see, just to like who had the shortest show, who had the longest show,
Yeah.
and kind of just see like, yeah.
The
But
more I think about this one, I do like this one. And like you said, if you like it says, if you can save 60 minutes
I mean,
off
that's
independent open, that you can get seven more groups in there.
well, and then the regional events with Saturday, where with the Sunday, final. I mean, that really would be a huge deal, especially for like Shenandoah comes over to Indianapolis for that. It's like bless their hearts, they gotta get home, like
Right.
and
Well, I mean, how many times do we see it at awards? Oh, they're not here. Moving
yeah,
on.
they
Here's
left. They said bye. Send me my treat, my trophy or whatever. Yeah,
PO Box 123.
yeah.
All right, last one.
Yes.
Proposal number 32. So I'm pretty sure I saw this one on the percussion one too. So I wonder if this was
The person that submitted it, they had a lot of stuff submitted for the percussion stuff too. Yeah, so
okay. So all timing and penalty judges shall maintain audio recordings during performances involving manual timing responsibilities. They shall verbally identify and record initiation of timing, stopping of timing, timing interruptions, extraordinary timing circumstances, and significant delays affecting performance or performance start or continuation. These recordings shall serve as the official audit resource for timing inquiries and extraordinary circumstance reviews.
hmm.
This is basically so just they want it so that it's a standardized thing that everything's there. Because if that way you're trying to dispute your
Right,
time, if you get an overtime penalty, like, well, I want to hear on the tape when you had me start and when you,
right, or at
instead of
least
you
just
just saying I
oh,
wrote it
like
down.
oh, I gotta oh shoot, I didn't realize that was happening, or yeah, just to be make it more well transparent again.
Right. It's like, okay, well, I'm starting your time now because such and such has started. Okay, your timing is done. I don't see
Yeah.
a whole lot of issue with this. And even WGI was like, no financial impact, but in addition to the duties of the TMP judge.
But again, look, there's more that yeah, that TMP role just needs to be almost like cleaned up, cleared out. Give us a refresh, give them some more direction and more, more clarity, more transparency. Yeah, they're a vital part of the whole event. So
They can make or break your
they
day.
really can. So it's like making sure that they're visible, not a distraction, and providing correct information and feedback from their role.
And then it says also here that if the information is there, like if you want to contest a penalty or if you get assessed a penalty, it's on the tape as to specifically
Yeah, it
why.
helps you understand what were they seeing or hearing or and all that to help it make more sense. Yeah. Is there a prop issue? Is there, you know, well, you said you had six kids. I only see four. Where's the other one?
You gotta have five.
Yeah,
Where
where's
is she?
yeah. There she is. She busts out of a box in the corner.
If you had conjoined twins,
Oh my God.
because the whole story with the conjoined twins that went to college and their teacher, eh, and but they had to pay two tuitions.
You're
If
full
you
of
had a,
crap.
if you had a conjoined twin on a color guard, would you count it as one performer or two? You're not gonna answer. You're like,
I'm
I'm
not gonna,
not,
I'm not gonna,
not
I'm
touching that
not
with a
gonna,
10 foot pole.
I'm not talking about this. I can't. I don't, that feels weird. I don't like it. Feels like a trap. I don't like it.
Let's get Will
Oh,
canceled right now.
bless. Oh, oh.
Oh my goodness, this is a
Now,
lot.
now I'd end up just crying and being like, just do all the things. I know what you did. Oh, golly.
Which one do you think is the most likely to get passed
Out of all 32,
out of all 32? I think the most likely one is probably just the simple of the 400-mile rule with the seating score not bumping another guard, because I can't see anybody being like, oh yeah, yeah, like why would anybody be
yeah,
against that? But the ones I think most impactful, the more I think about it, this timing, shortening the timing would be
that
really interesting.
would be a ripple effect of yeah, which I mean, not bad at all, but that'd be really interesting. I really, I kind of hope all these timing and penalties ones, I hope they all pass because I think that would be that role. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I feel like it's not treated as with as much respect as it should be as all the other judges.
Oh, absolutely, it's not.
Like,
No, yeah, it
like
should be, but
no,
it's not.
that is a huge, it's a huge responsibility. Like, you get to start and stop the entire thing, like the whole flow of it. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Um,
You ask anybody, how many judges do you get? I guarantee you, people five. No, you have
see,
six. You have six. They are a judge.
yep,
They have to know all the rules. Like they're not just sitting there with a stopwatch counting time. They have to know
that's true. They have to understand everything.
all the prop rules, the time, the equipment timing, what constitutes as equipment, the performer limitations, all of that stuff. There's a lot they have to know. What you can do with electronics, what you can do with all those things.
I'd like those to pass just to help bring more clarity, transparency, all of that for that particular role.
I
Be
want the
curious.
wait list ones to pass. That you go to the bottom of the list, and then it is obvious
Yeah,
who's in what
that
order.
one's, yep,
But that all comes back to the same word you keep saying over and over again: transparency.
transparent. Why? Yeah, there's no reason to be shady and weird and not not be forthcoming with stuff. We're here to be educational and encouraging. Like what's the big deal? Okay.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to do it, then just say no, but be firm in your no. Don't be weird about it. Like, right,
Like no,
no. Just no, unfortunately, we're not going to do that. Okay, well, then that's the answer. Fine. But don't pretend like you're going to do something and not, or just yeah, be
right.
transparent. Be transparent. Be
Be transparent. Be transparent. Opulence.
I always opulent. I want everything. I always do so many hand and arm motions that no one's ever sees except
Yeah.
for you. Uh,
One of these days, maybe I'll do a video one, but I don't know.
gosh.
I
Eek.
make too many faces and I have like too many like facial tics. I'm like, people don't
Right.
know.
Be like, oh gosh, it'd be.
And I don't look at the camera when we record, like, because I'm going off the outline. Like this one, I've been staring at this list of proposals the
Yeah,
whole
well, this
time.
time, yeah, normally I'm staring at you, but this time I had my iPad
Well, I
over.
don't even stare at the camera. I stare at you on my screen, which is
Oh, yeah.
like a good 6 inches below my camera. So people are like, what are you looking at?
Mhm.
Like, you looking at your mug. All right. Well, that's going to be it. So we kind of went over everything. Some spicy ones, some pointed ones, some, I don't know what y'all thinking girl ones, but, you know, take the swings, right? Take the big swings and
Right.
see what happens. The meeting is June 5th and 6th. So by the time this comes out, my plan is to get this out hopefully Tuesday. We're recording Sunday night. I'm going to edit this as quickly as possible. Maybe I get it out Monday night.
Okay.
Limited editing. So you might hear more ums than usual just because I want to get this out so people can listen to it. And the meeting is the 5th and 6th. I think they post the results like that Sunday. Like as soon as the meeting's done.
I feel like
And
last
I'll,
year was it was late, but it was pretty quick. Like they did it
yeah.
out.
And Dale usually goes on like their Instagram and does a quick like reel of him just saying this one passed, this one didn't, this one didn't.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, granted, there's a lot to go through, so that might be a long reel. And I'll have my insiders there updating me on what's going on. So I'll be back with a program showcase episode, and Will, you'll be back some point soon, I'm sure. So thank you for being here. Thank you for talking proposals.
Yeah, always happy to be on, and thanks for having me. Yeah.
My pleasure, and we'll see what happens. So bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you again for joining. That wraps up this episode. Very, very big one. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with these proposals. I'll be back, as I mentioned, with a program showcase episode very soon. So until then, stay safe, stay fabulous, and remember, at the end of the day, it's just flags in a gym.